Hi, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to show yet another set of examples of some struggles I've had with close focus wide angle. I think it's such a cool technique. It's one with a few more technical challenge, both technically getting an image with regard to focus and lighting in the foreground and background, and with regard to composition. There's a lot of potential pitfalls which we've talked about earlier. I'm going to again show each image for a few seconds and describe it, and then if you want you can maybe pause it and make a mental note of whether you don't or do like about it, and then after that I'm going to show every image immediately again and then describe what I think went right or wrong. And remember, I'm not a professional. I've taken certainly my share of lousy images. There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer, and your opinion is every bit as valid as mine. Okay, but hopefully, if this is so much fun, and in this technique, I've been the most disappointed. I'm underwater, seeing all this cool stuff with my dive buddies, thinking I'm getting all these spectacular pictures. I get back to the hotel, I download them, I look at them, and man, I'm often so disappointed. So hopefully, you can learn from some of my errors and maybe get some better pictures in the future. Also, do me a favor, download the outline from my website and give me any feedback, or even send me some of your own images. And if you find it helpful or not helpful, let me know either way. I'm always open to any feedback or criticism. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Okay, let's just look at a few pictures here. Most of these shots were taken with a fisheye lens, SLR camera with either 2 strobes or available light. And I'm just going to show each image very briefly and then immediately show them again and give you my humble comments or criticisms, and you can form your own opinion, and hopefully maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes. Alright, I took this image of a turtle and my dive buddy in the Caymans in 2006 with a boat overhead. This is an image of my dive buddy in a coral in Roatan. And this is an image of my wife and a beautiful turtle in the foreground in Maui 2012. This image was shot in Roatan, another dive buddy in a beautiful reef scene. I got this image of a scorpion fish with my dive buddy in the Caymans. And I got this image of a trumpet fish with 2 of my dive buddies in Curacao 2013. So you can put this on pause for a second and make a mental note of what you maybe did or did not like of some of the images. And now let's proceed and go ahead and I'll give you my opinion. This shot had some potential. The turtle and the diver were both kind of facing me, and I thought, man, I might get lucky, catch these on the beautiful reef with a boat overhead. Unfortunately, I cut off the boat. The boat ends up being distracting instead of adding another dimension. And I didn't get low enough. The diver and the turtle are blended in with the scene. Ideally, I should have gotten closer to the turtle, although as you know, that's easier said than done. I also caught the diver when he was exhaling bubbles, so it doesn't quite work. Too bad. This shot, I should have composed it vertically rather than horizontally. I cut off the coral of the base. Decent exposure and focus of the background, decent focus of the foreground, but I'm so distracted by the harsh shadow. The strobe on the left was either too close or too strong compared to the strobe on the right, or the strobe on the right didn't discharge. But I really don't like that harsh shadow, so too bad. Diver was also facing, I caught him when he was facing the wrong direction, but he was separated from the reef. Here I was thrilled to get what I thought was going to be a fantastic shot. Available light, snorkeling. I got close to this turtle and I caught my wife in the background with the undersurface. I thought this was going to be great, but the sun was ahead of me instead of to my back, so I didn't get good illumination and exposure and lighting of the beautiful turtle in the foreground. The turtle's kind of dark and in the shadows, and I caught my wife when she was facing the other way. Too bad. I was so disappointed in this one. Had a lot of potential. This shot I actually like. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but I love the beautiful reef scene with the splashes of the brilliant red color. Everything's in focus. My dive buddy in Roatan on a dive trip, the undersurface. I love it. This shot, believe it or not, I flooded both strobes early on a dive trip in the Caymans, and I had to shoot all the time with just available light. I converted everything to black and most of the shots to black and white because I didn't have RAW. I shot JPEG, so I didn't like the color. I was at about 35 feet, so the brilliant red scorpion fish, you couldn't see color at that depth, so I converted it to black and white. Now I did get good focus and exposure of the foreground and background subject, but I wish I would have been lower and at a little different angle. That way the scorpion fish would have popped out, and you could have, he would have popped out more rather than blended with the reef in the background, and I would have had to get a little different angle so the scorpion fish didn't block my dive buddy. But I think this picture had a lot more potential than I actually realized. And here's a shot I was very excited about. I said, wow, this is going to be cool. I got a nice trumpet fish with two of my dive buddies in the background facing the trumpet fish. How cool is that? Unfortunately, I overexposed the trumpet fish with my strobes, and although everything's in focus, the image doesn't quite work. Both of the divers are merged with portions of the reef or with the trumpet fish, so it didn't quite work. So disappointing. So many things can go wrong with close focus wide angle. That's the problem. That's why I'm doing these tutorials. And do me a favor, if you get a chance, email me or drop me some kind of communication, whether you like or do not, even do not like this. I'd really appreciate any feedback. And thanks a lot for your attention.